Hello and welcome back to AP Psychology. I'm Miss Lee. We are still in Unit 2, Biological Bases of Behavior, and today's video is going to cover the nervous system. Our learning targets are on the screen. They're very basic. We're going to describe the nervous system and its subdivisions as well as the functions, and this includes the central and peripheral nervous systems. If you haven't done so already, grab your notes and let's get started. Okay, so the nervous system consists of all the nerve cells. It's the body's speedy electrochemical communication system. It is electro and chemical, electricity, chemistry, okay? So it's got two main parts that we're going to be talking about today, the central nervous system, or the CNS, and the peripheral nervous system, the PNS. The central nervous system contains the spinal cord and the brain, and it is in the center of the body. I think about it as being center of the body, as well as it is so important that it is the part of the nervous system that is all covered in bone. So our brain is part of it, big part of it, and it's covered with our skull. The spinal cord is also covered with bone. It's covered with the spine. The peripheral nervous system is the sensory and motor neurons that connect the central nervous system to the rest of the outside body. So if you think about your peripheral vision, it's the vision that's on the outside of the main part of your vision. It's the periphery. So the peripheral nervous system is outside of the main part, which is the central nervous system. It's outside of that. Okay, the central nervous system is comprised of the brain. This is the neural center of the body's control center. The spinal cord is the superhighway of the nerves. It even looks kind of like a highway. It's long, and it's the body's means of transmitting messages to and from the brain. The peripheral nervous system is a little bit more, it's not more complicated, but it's got more parts. So first you've got the autonomic nervous system. It controls involuntary functions. You could say automatic, just don't do that on an FRQ, but it's the automatic stuff that happens. It's involuntary. You can't always start it and you can't stop it from happening. So you consider things like your heartbeat, breathing, digestion. These are things that are automatically happening in our body. They're involuntary functions. Even though you can hold your breath, until you pass out, but your body is going to start breathing again because it is an involuntary function. It is controlled by the autonomic nervous system. And then you've got the somatic nervous system. This controls voluntary movements. It also controls communication to and from the sense organs. You control these items. They don't just happen, okay? So even though, you think about walking, you don't always have to remember to put one step in front of the other, but you are controlling your walking. You can stop it. You can start it. And at some point, you really had to think very hard about walking. It is somatic, and that key word there is soma, body. So it's what your body, your muscles are doing. The autonomic, and we're pretty much done now with somatic. The autonomic, however, is further complicated by being divided a little bit further. Hopefully you are keeping up with your graphic organizer that is in your notes. All right, so let's continue with the autonomic nervous system. It controls involuntary functions, and it is further separated out into two more sections. You've got your sympathetic nervous system. This is the part of your body that arouses your body, not sexually, but physically. You are going to have physical arousal that is going to prepare your body to act or react in a stressful situation, in a dangerous situation. It's expending energy. So it's the part of the body that's going to initiate fight or flight. And then you've got your parasympathetic nervous system. And I always think of parasympathetic, my mnemonic there is paramedics. The paramedics come in to calm everything back down after the stressful situation is over. It's going to bring your body back to homeostasis, its preferred state. And we talked about that with regard to the neurons, but our body's nervous systems also want to be at homeostasis. It's its normal resting condition. So the parasympathetic nervous system is going to calm the body, it's going to conserve the energy and help keep a constant internal state. And you can think about it as returning to rest and digest. Rest and digest. So I've got a picture of a nose here because you want to take a deep breath in order to calm down, rest, and digest. We're going to get to a little bit more detail about that, but during the sympathetic nervous system response, your digestion is paused. So let's dig in a little bit deeper here. So again, your sympathetic nervous system is going to be in response to a stressful or dangerous situation. It's going to initiate your body's fight or flight response. One of the first things that it does is it inhibits digestion. Your body needs all of its energy sources to go towards fighting or flight, getting out of there. So all of the resources like the blood, the oxygenated blood, are going to go towards the muscles. Digestion, believe it or not, takes a lot of energy, and so it's going to temporarily stop during this stressful situation. During this sympathetic nervous response, you're also going to have glucose being released by the liver. Glucose is sugar, it's the fuel, it's the energy that your body needs to be able to either fight or get out of there. It's going to stimulate the release of epinephrine and norepinephrine from the adrenal gland. Epinephrine is it's the fancy technical term for adrenaline. So adrenaline comes from the adrenal gland, and we're going to talk more about that in the next video on the endocrine system. Your pupils are going to dilate during this sympathetic response. They're going to get bigger so that it will bring in more light so that you can see more things in order to perceive danger better. And it's also going to increase your breathing and your heart rate to pump more oxygenated blood to your body faster. The parasympathetic nervous system response is going to get everything back to normal. It's going to be that rest and digest state. It's going to stimulate digestion to begin back. It's going to contract or pull your pupils back to where they should be, and it's going to slow down your breathing and your heart rate to a normal state. Okay, so the last thing I'm going to cover in today's video is the types of neurons, and this is really important. So you've got sensory neurons. These are also called afferent. The sensory neurons are carrying messages from the outside into the central nervous system. So it's coming from the outside in. The interneurons are kind of the go-between. They're the only neurons in the central nervous system, and they act as messengers between the sensory neurons with information coming in and the motor neurons with the messages going out. And then the motor neurons carry outgoing information from the brain, from the central nervous system, out to the peripheral nervous system and the muscles. These neurons are going to tell the body what to actually do with the information that was brought in from the sensory neurons. Now, the last thing that I want to cover is, and then you're just going to put this in, the margins or somewhere on your notes, reflexes. Have you ever noticed if you have ever cooked anything, or if you've ironed a shirt, or if you have used a curling iron or a straight iron on your hair, if you've ever accidentally grabbed the thing, the iron or the straight iron or the curling iron or a hot pan, have you ever noticed that you pull your hand away before you ever actually know that you are hurting? Like the pain hasn't hit yet, you know it's going to, and you're like, ooh, that's going to hurt in just a second. Like any second now it's going to hurt. That is a reflex. And if you notice here on your screen, there's kind of like a U-turn. And this is a thing that is just an amazing magical response that our body has. Sometimes our spinal cord will make the decision in the form of a spinal reflex. If your body perceives that you are in danger and needs to respond immediately, it will go ahead and tell your body to respond without the message reaching your brain yet. Your spinal cord has the ability to have a reflexive action. So you're able to pull your hand away before you even realize that it's going to hurt. And that's to protect your body. It's like the spinal cord is going, hey guys, she has just touched a hot iron. She's going to get a 3rd-degree burn if we wait for that message to go all the way up to the brain and come back down with a, hey dummy, put your hand away. So it will tell the hand to pull away before the message even reaches the brain. Isn't that cool? And that is called a spinal reflex. And that is it for this video on the nervous system. In our next video, we're going to cover the endocrine system. I can't wait to see you then. Bye for now.